To the graduating seniors in international business at the University of Washington Foster School of Business, the graduation celebration occurred on the 30th of May, 2013, and is presented by Dean DeCrease of Festivore Design Works. In the next few minutes, I would just like to share 4 lessons I've learned during my years on the road. The first lesson is that the superstars of business are focused on giving. While they never forget their own business needs, like cutting costs or growing market share, their primary mission is to do whatever it takes to solve the problems of their customers. This kind of commitment to giving is surprisingly rare, but it's incredibly powerful. Lesson 2 is that we never know as much as we think we do. After a dozen trips to Bangkok or Berlin, it's tempting to think we're experts on the market and the customers there. We're probably not. And worse, overconfidence cripples our ability to listen and learn. Leaders who stay humble win in the end. Lesson 3, be interesting. Live fully and share your passion. Whether it's Italian food, playing mandolin, building robots, or raising llamas, pour your heart into it. In addition to keeping you grounded, your passion has a magical way of cutting through language and cultural barriers. It makes you real and approachable. Lesson 4 is about finding your natural power, and this will take a little more explaining. In the excitement of early career learning and advancement, it's easy to get caught up in the thrill of the game and lose sight of what makes us human. I know I did. It took me many years to tame my obsession with work. Sometimes it's a bit easier to see these truths in retrospect. I've been traveling internationally since the 1980s, first as a scientist, later on working on global sustainability, and then as a leader of an export business and entrepreneur. To my friends and family, my job always seemed glamorous and exciting. And for the first few years, it was for me too. But after about a decade of 10-hour flights and hotel hopping, I began to realize that my job was pretty much like everyone else's, except that I had a really, really long commute. The most important things I needed to know about business, problem solving, having the passion and determination to build something new, practicing leadership, listening, building trust, and collaborating. These are the same things I would need to know in any job. I learned that people are the same wherever we go. They just have different frames and different business environments. And the cultural differences I encountered in Selma were just as challenging as the ones in Shanghai. So what's really different about international business? Some of the biggest challenges in life on the road are seemingly mundane, but they're hugely important over the course of a career. Time away puts a strain on my family, makes friendships less intimate, and limits my opportunities for community involvement. I'm pretty good at dealing with jet lag after all these years, but like anyone, my quality and quantity of sleep are affected by travel. Sleep is important. Poor sleep affects your brain function and makes you more vulnerable to chronic disease. Sleep can also affect how well you think, react, work, learn, and get along with others. Healthy habits are a key to success. Broken routines due to travel have always been a challenge for me. My productivity is affected when I spend hours a day getting from A to B. For decades, I traveled over 200 days per year. I shudder to think how many years of my life have been consumed by the logistics of travel. And living in entertainment mode, creating all those special occasions for others night after night, can also take its toll. I finally realized that in order to thrive in global business, I also had to pay special attention to building my personal power and resilience. So several years ago, I began to study the nature of well-being. You might call it personal sustainability. I call it my happiness project. I first got interested in sustainability after the Rio Earth Summit in 1992. The next year, I moved to Geneva to work on global business agreements to protect forest ecosystems and animal habitat. Ever since then, I've been thinking about how sustainability plays out in business, in communities, and now, with the Happiness Project, in our own lives. Pioneering work in brain science, behavior mapping, and positive psychology is finally making it possible to understand the biological basis of happiness, productivity, and success. It turns out that human beings have evolved to eat, move, sleep, interact, and even think in very specific ways. We get optimum results when our behavior is compatible with nature's design. We can think of happiness and personal power as rewards for living in harmony with nature. So what is our natural habitat? We can start to answer this question by looking at the animal kingdom. Consider a hawk high in the forest canopy, or a bioluminescent deep-sea shrimp living under enormous pressures at the bottom of the ocean. Each is perfectly adapted to its own habitat. But remove them from their natural environment, and they may not survive. How does this apply to humans? We used to get our lifestyle from nature. In the pre-industrial era, our lifestyle choices were limited and governed by nature to a far greater extent than today. We ate plants, and we ate animals that ate plants. We worked hard to survive, so we were physically active all day. We learned to cooperate with others in the community for shelter, security, and the common good. Cultural wisdom was passed on from generation to generation. We had a close connection to the land and the sea. But we no longer live in the ecosystem into which we evolved. Today, we buy our lifestyle from businesses. Evolution is a slow process. It takes thousands of years for a single change to occur. In non-industrial societies, lifestyle change occurs at that same slow pace. But our lifestyles are changing exponentially with the explosion of technology. Consider how different your lifestyle is compared to your grandparents. With such rapid change, what is the impact on our ability to thrive? Quoting Andrew Weil, "We are sedentary, spending most of our time indoors. We eat industrial food much altered from its natural sources, and there is increasing concern about how our changed eating habits are affecting our brain activity and our moods. We face an overload of information and stimulation, creating social isolation and certainly affecting our emotional and physical health. When we add the challenges of life on the road, we've got a problem." Animals make choices on the basis of instinct and nurture. Our ancestors were pretty much limited to natural living too. They didn't have many alternatives. But in the 21st century, answers to questions like, what should I eat and how should I live, are no longer automatic as our options proliferate. To remain strong, we need to find a way to examine our choices through a lens of natural wisdom. There appear to be 4 fundamental elements of natural happiness and personal power. The foundation is a strong body, supported by eating well, natural fitness, sound sleep, and enough play, and filtering everything we consume to ensure that it's biocompatible. Second is building a powerful spirit, finding the courage to embrace new challenges in new places, character, a sense of mission, mindfulness, and willpower. Third is the ability to create and maintain great relationships through positive communication, effective self-presentation, acknowledgement of others, and giving. Lastly, building mastery in our work and in our lives by practicing vision and goals, passion, persistence, and productivity. These elements of well-being provide the basis for success in business, in relationships, and in life. But how can we achieve them? There are several things that we can do to build this natural power. Here are a few thoughts to consider in closing. First, dedicate a few minutes of every day to learning about food and fitness, character and courage, listening and giving, willpower and productivity. Quantify yourself. Find ways to make the invisible things about your life more visible to you. Measure your sleep, chart your productivity, buy a Fitbit, get regular checkups, count your acts of kindness. Try to become more mindful. Spend time in nature as often as you can. Get out of the car and walk, bike, or ride. Get to know your neighbors, shop locally, and share openly. Practice mindfulness techniques such as meditative breathing and check in with your body, emotions, and thoughts. Avoid habitual distractions and intoxication. You're not going to have time for that. Try to minimize the number of decisions you have to make each day by automating tasks, building great habits, simplifying and prioritizing. Rearrange your habitat to support your goals. Choose friends that make you stronger. Finally, apply what you've learned about continuous improvement and process management to your own life to maintain and build excellence day by day. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Now go out and make a difference.